Let's have a look at the starting grid for this race 7 of a 16 race season. Marco Wittmann, the local man, starting on his own on row 12. Ahead of him will be Timo Glock and Ben Dürr. Mirko Bortolotti and Norisring occupy row 10. Row 9 has Ein Nguyen and winner from last year, René Rast. Ricardo Feller has Ben Green for company on row 8. On row 7, Tom Callender, the youngest driver in the field, with Luca Engster alongside. And a great qualifying from Gilles Magnus. Max Powell, quickest in FP1, but he's down on row 6. Row 5, championship leader Luke Sauer with Arjun Maini for company. Jack Aitken and Jules Gounon are next. Then on row 3, Nicola Barr, best qualifying ever with Mauro Engel alongside Thomas Preining. We've already heard from Thierry Vermeulen as well. To the sound of DTM, we have 5 red lights on, and in just a few seconds, it's 5 red lights off. We are go for race 7 of the season here at the Norisring. A great launch from Jordan Pepper into turn 1. A very wide line for Nicky Tim, but Thierry Vermeulen on the inside. Thomas Preining taking advantage of both of them. Now to the inside of Thierry Vermeulen. They're running side by side towards the chicane. Vermeulen holding on to that second place, but Nicky Tim, he already said he wanted to try and get the jump at the start, but he's been shuffled back through the pack. Everybody looks to have made it around that troublesome turn 1. They now head out along towards turn 4, fanning out 3 abreast in places, but they're going to need to get side by side into this turn, and that is Nicky Tim pointing in the wrong direction. A little bit of contact from the car behind, and now suddenly he's shuffled to the back of the pack.
Yes, all of a sudden, as you say, anything can happen here, and Nicky Tim goes from P2 to plumb last as Vermeulen is looking very lively here.
Looks to have covered off the challenge from Thierry Vermeulen. Right, here we go. So Mauro Engel was to the inside. Well, our race director has flagged a penalty to be served, and that's Ben Green into the pit. So clearly a problem there. Maybe that was a puncture. It looked like a tyre change. That won't count as one of his mandatory stops.
Which tyre? Behind. Left.
Okay, well, there's confirmation then. So tyre down for Ben Green, and it's going to be a long afternoon for him as well. Right, challenge into the hairpin. Max Powell to the inside of the number 7 Gilles Magnus car on board with Ricardo Feller as well. Ricardo Feller working his way forwards in the number 29 Audi. So a lot of drivers just trying to push forward to pole position in the early stages of this race while the field is closed back together. So Ricardo Feller is there. Just ahead of him is Max Powell.
Great racing that we're seeing, and I'm loving these onboard shots here as we ride on board with Ricardo Feller then. And every turn here is a difficult turn to get right, and you can see that Ricardo Feller was trying to go for a completely different line there as they stretch their legs on the start-finish straight now that has got a kink right in the middle of it before you head into turn number 1 or 2, depending on how you count them.
So Jordan Pepper, the race leader, 49.644. Always hard work to get used to a lap time. Doesn't start with a 1, but Jordan Pepper with a 49-second lap leading the way. But René Rast, man on a mission. He won here last year. He's pretty good at coming back through the pack. He just made short work of Nicola Barr. He was quickest in FP2. He was quickest in quali. There's a theme there, and there was a bit of contact into the back of the Ricardo Feller car. That was Gilles Magnus. That was more than just a kiss, wasn't it? That was a hell of a smack from the Aston Martin.
And Marco Wittmann chasing down the number 16 car of Timo Glock, who we heard from just a moment ago, puts himself to the inside. It was a firm fraught, but I think ultimately fair move, but he didn't make it pay off. Timo Glock able to close the door and say, yeah, you can try again, Marco. Mega Marco, you're not coming through that way.
That Mirko Bortolotti is in, albeit for a different team, as we lose Ben Green once again. So it looks like he is into retirement. So Ben Green's torrid season appears to be going from bad to worse. He started on such a high at Oschersleben, but has not been able to pick it up since then. And it looks like he's got terminal damage.
Potentially playing with Vermeulen, and here you can see as Arjun Maini absolutely rattles the very start of the pit lane. We travel on board with Ricardo Feller then. as he dives in now and the team go to work.
So they start on the rears first. That is in the rules. Only 2 mechanics allowed to work on changing the tyres, and then they get the car rolling, having done the front as well. Well, 6 if you count Ben Green, who's come into retirement. Ben Durr is the latest into the pits as well. There is Rene Rast going wheel to wheel with Ricardo Felle. Of course, Felle has done his pit stop, but Rene Rast hasn't. Rast now up into 9th place. There, Durr Motorsport get to work on that McLaren. The performance pit stop, a new discipline for Durr Motorsport when they joined DTM last year, but they certainly got up to speed on it now. That was an 8.3 second. So still Marco Wittmann's 6.8 second stop. Pretty spectacular from Schubert Motorsport. Right, 2 more in. Nicola Barr, Luca Engstler also into the pit lane as well. Here comes Nicola Barr in the Come To You Aston Martin. Luca Engstler there in the gold and white Lamborghini. The Grasser team will be getting to work on that. Come To You Racing, another team learning performance pit stops. This year is the first year they've been doing that. They get the car on the ground and rolling. That was an 8.7 second stop. Now, Grasser Racing, TGI team Lamborghini by GRT, and looked a bit sticky, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Couldn't get the gun quite onto the nut.
Maurice Schuring into the pits, drops out of 12th place as he peels off, keeping to that 40 kilometers an hour speed limit. This is going to feel very, very slow.
Whoa.
Contact between Marco Wittmann and Mirko Bortolotti. That was for 19th place. Now, Wittmann has he backed out of it, or has it just that Bortolotti had the momentum around the corner? But you got to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over Mirko Bortolotti. That was
another little kiss there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Their cars being welded together was something that was appealing to everybody.
I don't know if you see, but Bortolotti got fully drives into my car.
Once again.
Yes, mate, we saw it. Everything's on the light feed. We keep pushing.
He'll have his red mist descending if we're not careful. Wittmann looking very eager. This is for position. They both stop. Marco Wittmann now to the inside, sees the gap. Now Bortolotti tries to cut back to the inside. It's a drag race out of Dutzendijk.
Take that.
The 2 cars bouncing off each other. Advantage Mirko Bortolotti along the pit straight. Is Wittmann going to try again? You bet he is. He looks to the outside into turn 1. They will come. Wittmann's going to try and go the long way around. Better Mirko Bortolotti leaves the braking as late as he dared and still holds on to that position. Rene Rast now peels off into the pit lane. So Rene Rast was in about 9th place, I think, wasn't it, when he peeled off into the pits. We'll see where he comes out. The team get to work.
Watching that, you know, I think it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Come on.
So Lugi been given the instruction for maximum attack. Of course, his tyres are up to temperature. Rene Rast is on cold tyres, so this should be easy pickings for the Mercedes.
Maximum attack, continuous crank. That's what we want from Lugi Aris. He goes through on Rene Rast, as you say. He had a temperature advantage, but for sure in terms of his rubber, as still they keep coming in. It's around about 9 cars still to come in now.
Anh Nguyen is the next. This is great. The helmet cam at Manthey EMA. You think it's chilled. It isn't. The car was a bit slow off the jacks, actually, but it gets rolling again. Anh Nguyen is done and dusted. The leading stopper at the moment is Rene Rast. So here comes Jules Gounon. The yellow Mamba is serviced by Mercedes-AMG Team Man Filter. They've done the job. They've got it done. The car is off the jacks. That was a 6.4 seconds. That was a great stop by the team, getting Jules Gounon serviced and back out on track nice and quickly. Arjamani next in, so HRT will set to work on the Ford Mustang. Keeping to the speed limit, indicating he's coming in. Right, that is Tom Callender, Anh Nguyen. So Callender, who is currently in 13th place, Nguyen in 12th place at the moment. There are cars ahead of them now. Tom Callender has received a penalty lap.
That's what I was about to tell you, and that is for a pit infringement.
So he may have gone above the speed limit. It may well be that the team have done something that was outside of the regulations. That's a slow stop for Arjamani as well. That's a real shame. These pit stops are very heavily regulated. That was a 9.7 for Arjamani pit stops are very heavily regulated. Number of people can work on the car. The tyres have to be supported. They can't be left to just roll around. Everything is very heavily regulated. So Tom Callender will have to peel off. There's a little bit of a kiss there from Rene Rast. Get out of my way, Arton. I'm coming through. BMW versus Mustang. He doesn't take too kindly to that.
And that's playing nicely into the hands of the car that's running right behind Rene Rast that we ride on board with now. Ricardo Feller, as Arjun Miney sticks his elbows out here and says, you want to come by, friend? You find a way by. I'm not going to let you through.
Right, in comes championship leader Lucas Auer. He was in 7th place, so he's into the pits. 6.1. That is a brilliant stop from the crew at Team Landgraf. Good job done there. He rejoins. Still, we have 6 cars yet to come into the pits, make that 5, because Mauro Engel from 5th place is now peeling off into the pit lane. So Winward will get to work on that car. So in comes Mauro Engel. And there has been a problem for Luca Engster. You can see a lot of smoke. That's a Dutzendijk corner. Now, is that mechanical, or has he just had a big lockup? He's going very slowly. We're about to find out.
Oh,
he was
that's
tagged.
why.
Tagged by the number 8 car, Nicola Bar. That is bad news for Luca Engstler. That doesn't look like he's going to go much further. Mauro Engel, good stop for him. That was a 5.8 second stop for Mauro Engel. So that has really given him a little bit of a shot in the arm. Here's Nicky Team, the AB Sportsline crew, getting to work on his car. There's a problem there at the front, so that hasn't been especially quick.
You have to beat the car before it enters your pit lane. Park somewhere there, please, where you can on the right-hand side, not in front of the garage.
Their hearts will be racing, because this could be the difference between a win or a podium or not. The air jack goes in. The car's raised up off the ground. Good and swift on the rear, on the front. Off the jacks they come. They practice this into the night. Now Jordan Pepper getting ready to come in as well. So here he comes. He's got to find the pit box. He'll be looking for that. The air jack man will be ready to plug in the jack into the top of the car. The car will raise up into the air. Now the rear wheels are changed. And there's a problem there on the right rear. He hasn't lost too much time. Now the front. So the car down off the jacks, 9.8.
2 seconds.
So 2 seconds different. He should be able to just about hold on to the lead, maybe, because Thierry Vermeulen is down into 3rd place. Here comes Thomas Breining now. Remember, Jordan Pepper is on cold tyres into turn 1.
We've seen drivers' advantage. Now, this is where it went wrong. It was on that back wheel, look.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. It was the gun, I think.
I should think Jordan Pepper up in the car. There would have been a panicky moment. I don't think it's cost him, as we look at Ian Chen-Guen and Maurice Schering getting up close and personal with Max Powell, or indeed Max Powell getting up close and personal with Maurice Schering. So that looks to have had a real control of this since he arrived here, as we look again at Thomas Breining finding a route past Thierry Vermeulen. And it just looks like Breining got the tyres up to temperature and was able. Vermeulen had nothing to defend with from Mauro Engel either, so lost 2 places effectively in one go. Now coming back at Ben Dur. So Glock had Ben Dur had got past Timo Glock. Glock now coming back. So that is a battle that is going to be raging on. Timo still not happy with that car. And of course, we're expecting to have a brand new McLaren when they arrive at the Nürburgring for the next round in August. As the number 8 car looks like he's got a problem. That's Nicola Barth for Come To You Racing. Looks like he's into retirement. He had a 2nd place at Oschersleben at the season opener. But now, as we head towards the halfway point of the season, Jordan Pepper is going to come out of Dutzendijk towards the start-finish line. A first ever win in the DTM for Jordan Pepper.
Thank you, boys. Oh, that's a dream. That is a dream. Thank you.
He said to us when we spoke to him on Friday, he said the one thing missing from my CV at the moment is a win in the DTM. There's another tick Not only that, but he propels himself to second in the championship. And today he scores a maximum of 25 points for the race win, an additional 3 for that pole position as well. And let's have a look at the Drivers' Championship, all very much subject to confirmation. Jordan Pepper jumping from 8th coming into today to 2nd place. Mauro Engel in just 13 points adrift. Quick photo there. Thomas Brining a bit eager out of the blocks. I should think they'll probably want to get into the shade as soon as possible. The bottle cam is fired up, and we now get to see a unique view of the celebrations on this podium, and moments that will be savoured and remembered for a long time by Jordan Pepper.